Thanks for tuning in today, guys, to another episode here at Airbnb Rental Empire. I'm Kimo Katola, and I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys again about some valuable information that's going to help you with your Airbnb business. Today, what I want to talk to you guys about, which is super important, and this is always a constant struggle that we're always going through, and this is doing anything you can to minimize the effect of negative reviews or not getting any negative reviews, because your entire business is going to be predicated on this. Now, one way that a lot of people actually kind of bring it upon themselves and make it a lot easier for a guest to leave a bad review, without any hesitation, and that is by being too petty with guests about little things that occur. This is a mistake that a lot of people get into, and there's a negative impact for being too petty with guests about things that occur, because again, it is inevitable. So you have to realize that in the context of what business line you're in. First thing to understand about this is if you're too petty with guests and you're trying to recoup that $20, $30, $40 and this sort of thing, that can leave a very bad taste in the guest's mouth. A lot of them are paying a lot of money to stay in your property, thousands of dollars, or if not thousands of dollars, at least hundreds of dollars. And if you're going after them for a $15 towel that got stained because they used, they had a hair product in their hair, and then when you washed it, they're turned into bleach stains or whatever, that's just a petty situation, and they're not going to necessarily feel good about that. And then that's also going to have them start thinking about things that maybe weren't perfect with their stay. Maybe your cleaners missed a little spot, and maybe they found one hair on the floor, which they would ordinarily let go. But now because you're being petty with them about that $15 towel, they're going to think about that. They're going to say, you know what? That property wasn't perfect either, and I'm actually going to go and make that very well known to everybody else who's interested in booking this property. And the channel that they're going to do that through is through a less than 5-star review, unfortunately. If you're lucky, they're going to tell you that privately, but in a lot of cases, they're just going to write you a negative review. Now, this isn't only little things such as that. Sometimes this can be something even more expensive, a duvet cover, a duvet itself. These things can add up. It depends on the quality of the product that you're leaving in the house, but duvet covers are a little bit more expensive. Sheets can be a little bit expensive. Pillows need to be replaced. These are all sort of things that can happen. You have a woman there that just has normal product in her hair, and then it seeps into the pillow and into the pillowcase, and sometimes that's not going to come out. Now, do you really want to have every guest that does that? Do you really want to go after every single guest that happens with and then recoup your $20, $30, $40, $50? Some people think that it's worthwhile, but the reality is that you're being penny wise and pound foolish. You're trying to chase pennies, but it's going to cost you in the long run, and you're going to lose a lot of money because of that. I've gotten to the point where I do not ask very many guests for damages, even if they did something that is relatively major. Now, when I say major, it can be something up to that can cost me $100 or more than $100, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to go after them for it. Now, where I draw the line is when a guest damages something and they're disrespectful. If they are disrespectful guests and just, for instance, don't have any care for your place, leave a disaster of a cleaning for the cleaners, smoke inside the unit, that is a big no-no for me. I'm going to go after them for the smoking charge as well as anything else. If there were any other damages, they are definitely going to pay for that, because that is just blatant disrespect, and I don't have any tolerance for that. But for instance, at one of my properties recently, we had these 3 beautiful pendant lights over the kitchen island. And then one of the guests said that they broke one of the pendants. I guess she was actually washing dishes there, and then she held it up. This is what she said. Who knows? But she said she held up a dish to see if it was dry, and then hit the pendant, the glass pendant, and broke it. This was a pretty expensive fix. We had to find it from the manufacturer and order the part. It was definitely a pain, but especially because she came to me and presented that and said, hey, we made this mistake. I'm not going to charge her for that. I don't think that is right. Mistakes happen. We also make mistakes as hosts. And just like I said earlier, there's going to be instances where you don't provide a perfect experience, and you're going to hope that the guest actually lets that pass a little bit, and you still do get a 5-star review. But if you're feeding off this energy of being petty with guests, that's going to come back to you in the long run, and you're going to feel the pain through less than 5-star reviews. That's going to bring down your average, which ultimately affects the algorithm and hurts your search ranking with Airbnb. Some of the other benefits of being forgiving with guests is just that, again, you're feeding a positive energy and a positive feedback loop that is going to carry over to the reservation itself, and is also going to possibly carry over from reviews that you're going to get from the guest, and then also from them referring people. I get a lot of repeat customers and people that were referred by somebody else, and that is only coming because there is goodwill that's been established during the stay. Again, if I'm going after them because they broke a glass or if they stained a pillowcase or something like that, that doesn't leave a good taste in the guest's mouth, and you always want the guest to have a good taste about your property so that they display that through a positive review for you that can even say something more detailed than just great stay. If you go above and beyond, the guests are going to go out of their way to write you a good review, and that's going to go a long way, especially when you get more details in that review than just great stay. You want people to give details and talk about the hospitality that you provided, because that is something that future guests are going to read, and that's going to affect their decision making in terms of whether they stay at your property or another one. So what we're talking about here in general is just being forgiving with guests and understanding that you are in the hospitality business. People are coming in big groups. They're coming to enjoy themselves. So you cannot sit there and pretend like it's your very best friend staying in your guest's bedroom and you're expecting everything in the morning to be just the way you delivered it to them. It's just a cost of doing business in this line of work. You're in the hospitality business and you're going to have things that are going to occur, and you have to kind of nip them in the bud and move on. Some people want to set a threshold for damages and then say anything above that threshold, they're going to charge the guests for that. I don't have necessarily a threshold. I mean, there is kind of a, I would say over a couple $100. In most cases, I'm going to charge the guests unless there's some extenuating circumstance. But most of the time, if it's under $100 or something like that, I'm not even really going to think about it. Again, unless the people were disrespectful and they did not follow the house rules, then that is a different scenario, and that is when I am going to go after them for damages, that's for sure. Thank you for watching, guys, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. I have a lot of information to give you guys. I've been 10 years in this business, have taken over 7,000 bookings, have thousands of reviews on Airbnb and another 1,500 on VRBO, and operating at a very high level. I want to transfer this information that I have to you guys, so please subscribe, and I'll be back for more.